Boruto episode 103 Migration Season. Sorry for the late review, of course, but as usual with Boruto, it's kind of like, I kind of watch him when I watch him. I try to get him on, get him done in time. I really had to do this one, otherwise I was gonna be like 3 weeks late with this because I'm going to Japan in the morning. So I was like, I have to do this before the new episode because I won't even see the new episode until the episode after the next one even comes out. But this was a good episode. It was like, all right, decent way to end it. I was watching the episode and I was like, man, how cool would it have been though if they failed? And it went into like this crazy season where it was almost like the zombie apocalypse version of Boruto, where people are getting like infected with the curse mark and stuff, and some people are strong enough to survive it and they transform. That would have been cool. That's like an alternate universe type of deal where I was like, that would be so cool to watch, but it would be so insane to do that type of story. It still would have been amazing if they did it, but just saying, that's like a full series type of deal, in my head. But I thought that would have been cool. But I was like, I knew that wasn't gonna happen. I'm like, they're gonna succeed. It is what it is. But decent episode. Favorite thing probably had to be the fact that I was right when I was like, this guy is like, hey, I'm a scientist. I have my own curse mark. I want Jugo to go crazy so I can test mine against his. And all I was saying was like, I don't think this guy's gonna really do much. I think he's gonna get beat up. And he did like the full transformation, and I was like, okay, crazy design. I thought it was interesting. He had like the extra arms and stuff. I was like, okay, this looks interesting. He was very Orochimaru like, and I was like, okay, I'm curious to see how this plays out. And they do that first punch, and Jugo just shatters his entire arm, and I was like, yep, this is over. And he beat the crap out of that guy. Like, he destroyed him. I think it was like, maybe 10, 15 seconds. It really wasn't that long. And he just beat the crap out of him. And the guy couldn't put up a fight. I mean, he shattered his arm in the first punch, and then he just beat him, and that was it. And I was like, yeah, that actually went how I wanted it to go, because I was like, I think he's way weaker than he truly anticipates. Because I'm like, Jugo is real far gone, especially when he's actually out of control of it. And I'm just like, that was great. It went like I thought it should have gone, and it was just like, that was good. He beat the crap out of that guy. And then that was it. He was pretty much down. He was just like, he beat him so bad, he just went back to normal. He was just this naked, scrawny dude. And it was just like, pfft. And it was just naked, butt cheeks in the wind, stuck on the ground. And that was it for like the whole episode. That was him. And I was like, man, he destroyed that guy. And that was it. And so the rest of the episode is Jugo going crazy and then freaking out that the birds are going to migrate. And, before everyone gets there, Kanin and Sadara are trying to figure it out. And they're like, we have to figure out which birds to get. They have, like, the red eyes, which was one of the things I didn't like because it pissed me off. Because I was like, how is it that she had the chakra thing where it was like, I can sense, where the girl's coming from and stuff like that. But she couldn't just sense the chakra inside the birds where she just goes like, boom. And I can see every bird that's blue because I assume birds don't have chakra. At least not in the context of, like Boruto or like the Naruto universe as a whole. They don't have like chakra moves and, things like that. So I was like, why? And even if they did, why wouldn't she be able to use her technique where she could sense chakra to be like, oh, this chakra is different than this chakra, which with it being the curse mark, I would assume it's either way stronger, which she would notice, or it's totally erratic, like something's weird about it. And it's just like wild and, uncontrollable. So even if it's not stronger, it should be sporadic at least. And I was like, why isn't that a thing? Well, once again, just little weird stuff like the Sumidi thing where she doesn't bite her to get her energy back as soon as she wakes up. And then she's like really weakened in the battle against like the boy. And it was like, why isn't Kanin's power able to just check all the birds? Like they aren't flying away. Like the whole episode, the birds are just like waiting for the sun to come up. They were doing legitimately nothing. They were just sitting there. And I was like, this would be super easy if Kanin was just like, oh, there's this one and that one and these other ones all over here. Because I can see them with my chakra, which they showed in the last episode. Once again, one of those dumb things where I was like, this just doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't she be able to do that? I feel like that would be a weaker task for her compared to like, being in a crazy battle. So it's not like she'd be using up that much chakra to, just to visually see what birds are different. I would think at least, but they don't, once again, you at least got to reference it. Like, oh, I'm too weak to do that for long enough to see all the birds. Like maybe they capture a few and it's like with there being so many birds I have to maybe she does have to look at them individually. It's not like a Byakugan type thing or something. Just reference it, because I'm like, she just did it in a fight scene with a girl that was literally moving so fast they couldn't see her. She had to use her power to sense her chakra and it was basically, her ability allowed her to see this girl moving at super speed, but it was like she couldn't just stand in one spot and just be like, okay, I can see everything across this lake. Anything like I said, some reference to why she couldn't do it would have been great. And it was just like, that's dumb. That doesn't make sense. They didn't even reference it or even think about it, where she has this ability that she just used in a fight, but she couldn't use it on these birds who have this incredibly dark, intense chakra within them, which should be super easy for her to see with her ability. So I was just like, whole episode, that's all I kept thinking about, or at least the first half of it, until the action kicked in, and I was like, I forgot how dumb it was. But that bugged me. That's my big gripe and rant on the episode. Was like, once again, random dumb thing. It wasn't, a lot of people were saying about how weak the character seemed before in the last episode, and this one was just like, that just doesn't make sense. Just don't reference a power you're not going to use. And they did it twice with the same character. Super weird. But anyway, they go through the whole episode. Jugo destroys this dude. Goes through back and forth. It's like, what are we going to do? The sun's coming up. It's about to get really crazy. And we don't know where to go or how to solve this problem. And then, of course, Boruto's like, oh, well, Konohamaru did the Rasengan. I should do the Rasengan. It'll take him down. But, of course, Konohamaru did, like, the Odama Rasengan, which is just the big one. And Boruto's like, well, I can't do that. I'm not good enough to pull that one off. So instead, I'll just use speed. Like, if he's coming at me and I'm, going at him, the increase in speed will basically be an increase in power as well. And I was like, that should be interesting. Of course it's going to work. The whole thing was like, if I screw up, I got one shot, and if I screw it up, it's over. But of course he succeeds, he hits him. It doesn't totally take him down, so it's still not as strong as like just the base Odama Rasengan at normal speed. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And, Jugo's fighting it the whole way through it, and Boruto's trying to talk to him and stuff, and Jugo's fighting it, and then of course he ends up successfully fighting it at the very end when he's about to kill Boruto. And I like that scene. Boruto like couldn't do anything. He was like, that's it, I'm spent. Like, that took it out of me. Like, him doing that at such high velocity, like, messed his arm up, and he was just like, that's all I got. So I kind of liked how it was done, and it was just like up to Jugo controlling it for it to actually play out. So I like how that was handled. And then of course it comes down to like, the birds about to migrate, and Sadara's freaking out. She's like, crap, I gotta kill all these birds off. It's like, it's my mission, so she doesn't let Kanin do it. And then everything's fine. Konohamaru and Mitsuki come in. They have Suigetsu, and they just, it's like, boom, drink this. He turns into a giant puddle. Boom, and he rains on all the birds, and everybody's cured. And I was like, sweet, everything's all said and done. It's solved. They still, Tosaka, which I still hope is his name, like, legitimately, whole time. I every time I heard his name, I was like, gotta remember it for the review. Still don't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure it's Tosaka. But they end up taking him, and Konohamaru kind of freaks out. He's like, oh man, they took him and stuff. And then that was pretty much it. Like, everything kind of works itself out, and it's like, okay, cool. So decent episode to kind of end off this mini arc, which sadly is not going to transcend into whatever is in the opening, which, as I've already said a bunch already, I still really, really hope that that's actually in the opening, because I'm going to be annoyed if they do it 2 times in a row where it's like this really epic thing is played out in the opening, and then characters that are in the opening don't even show up for like anything at all. Like, there is no epic fight scene like what we see. So I'm hoping whatever happens after the next episode, which is a total filler, where they find a cat, and I'm like, cool, who gives an F about that? Hopefully after that we'll be going back to some fairly decent content as the series progresses. So we'll see what happens, but this episode at least was decent. Not too concerned in any way, shape, or form about the next one. So me being in Japan and not doing the review on time, it's like whatever for this next one. It's just like, it means nothing. And if it does end up meaning something, that'll be a great twist. I would love to be surprised. They've done that already with some of the little filler episodes, and I would love that to happen. I don't feel like it will, considering it's an episode where they find a cat and it goes from Sadara to Boruto to Mitsuki, but I don't know. So we'll see what ends up happening. The other big thing for this episode, oddly enough, I thought about it because of the cat, and then that led me to Nue. But Sumini decides that she is going to no longer be a ninja. She's going to go into like ninja research, and that will allow her, at least she believes, to basically bond better and get more control over Nue. So I was like, okay, that's very interesting, and we'll see how it ends up playing out. Excuse me. Considering her character is such a filler character, I am curious how often we'll even see her pop up anymore. And Namida and Wasabi, same thing. It's like, all right, well, they were already the minor characters, and now it's like, all right, they're not even a team anymore technically. Like, I don't think we actually know what even happens. I don't think even in Naruto they ever actually went through that process of being like, okay, well, if a character leaves, what happens? How do you just go on as a 2-man squad? And I don't think you do. Like, even when they did the Naruto Shippuden stuff, technically Sai came in as super replacement Sasuke, and it was like, all right, Team 7, and it was the replacement deal. So I don't know if they're gonna do that, where there was like another person who kind of switched and decided to just become a ninja, side character. So all this stuff is irrelevant to even theorize, but it's just like, what do they do with that? Where's that going to end up going? So I am curious, mostly for the sake of Sumidi, because she has New Way, and they're, her being like the main deal for like the first actual season, first arc of the series. I was like, all right, she at least has something. Namida and Wasabi are just there. So, we'll see. And unfortunately, it's like the most important character out of all of those is really Hanabi, and we see her less than we see those girls. And I'm like, that probably means we'll literally not see her at all unless it's through Boruto or Hinata or Himawari. So I just don't know. It's like, man, that kind of sucks, because I would like to see Hanabi a lot more, and that means we'll see her. It's even less likely we'll get to see her from the already zero that we see that we get to see her now. So we'll see what happens with that. But all in all, decent ending to this mini arc. I do wish it went longer. I wish it did expand into something much crazier, because it's the curse mark. The curse mark is always entertaining. It's fun to watch. I like the concept of it, with a guy getting the ability from Orochimaru, or however he got the research, and then trying to spread that into the world, even if it wasn't that, and it just ended up being him doing it to a small group of characters. Some were stronger than others, stuff like that. Him potentially being the strongest after he figures out what does and does not work. I think that would have been great. I would think that would have been fantastic for a full season arc, and they really, ramp up the tension, because like I said, it's the curse mark. You could easily have that go into Naruto and Sasuke actually coming in. It could have led to what's, in the opening, because the curse mark is a huge deal. Have Orochimaru come back. Like, there's so many elements of that I think would personally be amazing, most of which I guess technically do involve older characters coming back. But even without that, I mean, if you don't specifically do Sasuke, Naruto, and Orochimaru, do what you have with Jugo, Suigetsu, and Kani. That would, of course, bring in Orochimaru. It would possibly even bring in the older version of Mitsuki, the other clone. I don't know if that would throw things off a little bit. I don't know how this series transitions into whatever is happening in the manga right now, or the manga in general. But I just feel like there's so much they could have done with that if they wanted to keep it going and not just have it, like, we succeeded and we beat all the bad guys. Don't have it on such a grand scale where they have to stop the migration across the planet type of deal. Just do it smaller scale. He tests on specific people, and then that's just kind of how the arc builds up, and of course, natural conclusion, they win and beat all the villains. But it's fun, great action sequences, cool designs, because people going curse mark and stuff. I think it could have been so much more, and just so much more entertaining. I mean, they were already doing a fairly decent job. It was okay, but I feel like if they put that as the focus and was just like, do this for an arc, I think that would have been an amazing season. And like I said, do stuff where you bring in Sasuke, bring in Orochimaru, bring in Naruto, or even not Naruto, just at least Sasuke, or at least, very least, Orochimaru, because you already have most of Team Taka. Just bring in Orochimaru, possibly bring in other Mitsuki. So many elements that they could have gone with. And now it's like, all right, well, that's done. Wrap that up. These characters are going back to Orochimaru. These characters are going back to the village. And now there's a cat story. And it's like, the things they could have done with the curse mark. So it's unfortunate, but this episode in itself, at least, was a fairly decent conclusion. We got some cool stuff from the episode, but definitely wish they went a lot further with the curse mark. Since they bothered to bring it in, go with it. Go crazy. Like, it's just so many options. Just more. Just do more, I guess. But unfortunately, that was the end. We'll see what happens with the next arc. Maybe it'll be great. That's all we can really hope for at this point after filler cat episode. Potentially great filler, I hope, of course. But either way, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But of course, I would love to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. And I actually would love to know what would you have liked to have seen from this arc? Like I said, for me personally, just make it a full arc. Make it, instead of it being however many episodes this was, I think it was probably 8 episodes or something like that. Make it a solid 20. This could have been 20 episodes worth. This could have been a 10-hour story, and I think it would have been totally fine. It could have been a full season. It could have been, I mean, if they did the super crazy thing where like it actually spread around the world, that could have been a full series. But as just a full season, they still could have done it. They could have stopped the birds. Maybe something else crazy happened, but the guy, Tasaka does escape, or something else happens where the twins end up technically surviving, so they they didn't die anyway, but they survive and they're able to somehow carry on the research, or they find someone else, or anything. I just would have liked to have seen it expanded upon, because I think it would have been, like I said, so much potential, a million opportunities or possibilities for what they could have done going into like a curse mark season with a different person being the one to do it, who doesn't really have the experience of Orochimaru, and also isn't on that same scale. And Orochimaru kind of comes in as like a helping hand to take this person down. So lots of things I would have liked to have seen just expanded upon, but like I said, it is what it is. So I would love to know what you guys would have liked to have seen them do with this season, if they decided to do it, twice the length or 3 times the length even. What stories, kind of popped into your head as things were kind of playing out? What would you have wanted to see? So definitely let me know that, theories and possibilities of, sadly, what is not to come. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.